Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com, and this is our next Saturday with Stacy, YouTube class number 444. Oh my gosh, I have a full-length, commercial-free, technique-based class for you today, and heavy stress on the technique in this class, absolutely, where if you love to emboss with your die cutting machine, you're gonna love this class. If you like to emboss with embossing powders, you're gonna like this class. If you like to stencil, you're gonna like this class. And if you have no idea how to do any of this, well, welcome to Scrapbooking Made Simple. This class is going to start very, very simple for all of you who are new to paper crafting, and we're gonna get progressively more technique-y as we go along. Now, I am taping this early, several days earlier than I normally do, because by the time we are watching this together, it premieres 8 a.m. sunny California time, 10 a.m. Central Time, or 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday mornings. I am actually in Florida right now. No, right now here I'm in California, but by the time we're watching this together, I will be in Florida as I am attending the NAPTA show featuring Creativation. It is the first trade show in 2 years that I've been able to go to, and I can't wait. I mean, I know we're going to see some great new products, and I've never been to the NAPTA show before. This is new for me. NAPTA is the fine art show, so I'm going to go stick my nose around some fine art things and see if I can find some hidden nugget of yumminess that we have to have in our paper crafting world. But I get to see friends that I haven't seen in forever. Kimberly will be there, and Nicole will be there, and David will be there, and Kevin from Aladdin will be there. There's just so many people that I haven't seen in for what seems like forever. But that's one reason I'm super glad to be going. And the next is, again, to find that little jewel of a nugget that's tucked in some booth that I've never even heard of before, that when I look at it, I go, oh, I think I can do something with that. And that's kind of what today's class is all about too. It's like, would this work? Could this work? It does work. So if you are into techniques, I am the channel for you. And if you have not subscribed yet, there's a little heart right over here. All you have to do is run your mouse over it and click subscribe. And then if you're joining us during the premiere, you can see the live chat going on. Please say hello. We would love to welcome you into our group. We've got a fun crafting group that is part of our Saturday mornings, and the live chat is always very, very festive. So, I don't have winner chicken dinner for you this week because I am taping early. James has not had a chance to approve all of the winners, and I don't want anybody to potentially miss out because we picked winners early. And in fact, James is coming to the show. James flies out Friday to come to the show. This will be his first business show, business anything. And so James is my son. He's going to be 21 in April, and April 20th, he'll be 21. And so he and my younger son, Michael, work here at the shop with me, along with Mr. SMS. And Michael's staying home. Michael's still not there yet, but James wanted to go, and he wanted to know if he could sit in on some of my meetings. And I'm like, absolutely, you can sit on my meetings. Without question, I would love to have you. You are not to say a single word. There is no rolling of the eyes. There is no looking annoyed. There's no looking at your watch. You have to just be, put a smile on your face and sit there. And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, this is where the negotiating happens. When I go into a meeting, I am like, there's no expression at all from me for anything. I could be looking at the next latest, greatest thing, and they get nothing from me. Sometimes they'll lean over and like, do you like any of this? And so I wait until I see everything, and then I calculate everything in my head, and I formulate my strategy on how to get the best possible pricing for you and the exclusive for me. So I told him, you can't show anything, because if you look excited about something, that just My hand is blown. It's a poker face. So we'll see how good of a poker player he is. We'll see. So we're in Florida. We're at the show. I will be doing live from NAMTA featuring Creativation. I will be on the show floor early. I will be looking at booths and kind of sneaking in and taking peeks of things. I'll be seeing some of our most favorite manufacturers and hopefully learning about some new manufacturers that we just don't know anything about because they're in the fine art world. Well, fine art is just the quality of product. It's not the level of talent. So I hope they're ready for me. Oh, time's gonna tell. Now, because I have no winner chicken dinner, sorry, we'll just do two sets of winners next week when I get back. But I do want to tell you that I've got Hero Arts, I've got Stampendous, I've got Creative Expressions for you, and I've got the Crafters Workshop for you. We've done some stuff with the Crafters Workshop, not much. You know, it's kind of been a hit or a miss, but do you remember Mr. Big Shot David? Do you remember Mr. Big Shot David from Sizzix? Hence the reason his name was Mr. Big Shot, because it's the Big Shot machine, which I'll be working with today. Well, he moved along and he is now with the Crafters Workshop. So bring Stacy, I'm with the Crafters Workshop. Can we talk? David, I would love to talk to you. That would be amazing. This was back in January and we had like a 2.5 hour Zoom and we went through all sorts of new stuff. And you know, absolutely. I said, there's no place for you right now. With Crafters Workshop, I'm covered. I don't have any open to buy and we don't really need anything. But he says, no, don't worry about that. I'm going to put things together for you and I'm going to send them out to you because when you're ready, I want you to know we're here for you. I'm like, whoa, that works for me. Yay. So I wait and I wait and I wait. I know David and I know him very well, and he's a very dear friend of mine who's probably cringing right now. Hello, David. and nothing comes over, and January passed, or February, nothing. We're into March, nothing. So finally I text him and I said, are you even still with the Crafters Workshop? Because I never heard back from you again. I mean, I've been ghosted before, don't get me wrong. Not the first time, it won't be the last time. And he's like, he texts back, well, that's a loaded question. And I'm like, well, it's a fair question. I didn't hear from you. So he's like, yeah, I'm still there. We're still just trying to get things organized so that when you're interested in doing something with us, we're ready to go. And I said, well, I'm kind of interested in doing something with you, but if you're not ready, it's okay, you know, not a problem. And he's like, no, we can be ready. And I'm like, David, then you have to just do it. You just got to do it. You got to do what you say you're going to do, David. Do it, David. Just do it, David. And I think that's what I'm going to name him because he can't be Mr. Big Shot anymore. He's the former Mr. Big Shot. Now we have, ta-da, it's Taylor at Ellison. So I'm going to name David this time. Just do it, David. Just do it. Get it done. Do it. So he sent over information. I loved some of the things I saw. I said, when is this releasing? And he said, well, mid-April. And I said, oh, David, couldn't we have them a little early? Just do it, David. Just say yes. Just say yes, David. And he's like, well, just do it. Come on, David, say yes, yes, yes. So I got him to say yes. So I have the latest and greatest from the Crafters Workshop a wee bit earlier than everybody else, and I hope you love it. I think when you see what we do with it, you are going to go, psh. So if you want a chance to be a winner chicken dinner, post your comments. Remember, nothing about my personal appearance or my attributes. Just keep it kind, keep it simple. Just say, hey girl, hey, that'll work. Tell me about your day. Tell me about your children, your grandchildren, your spouse, your fur babies, your job, whatever it is you want to share. Just keep it nice. And once we take a look at it, my son James approves it. And then you go into the running to be a winner chicken dinner. So next week I'll have 4 winners to announce. Wahoo kachoo. I'm going to tilt on down. I'm going to get started. And hopefully, just do it, David is watching. And he likes where I went with his product because, again, I took something we went a little out of the norm. That is for sure, a little out of the norm. All right, I'm going to tilt on down. We're going to get started for today. If you're brand new, hello, I'm Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, and we're glad to have you here. I hope you learned something. I hope that there's something in here that inspires you or makes you just want to go try. Because remember, it is only paper. Okay, down we go. Bye. I hope I'm enjoying Florida. I hope the weather's nice. I will have just gotten into Florida. I'll be getting there just about the time to live chat. Hopefully my plane's not delayed. All right, sample number 1. Now this is a stencil from Creative Expressions. Ooh, Lizanne, hello, pretty. But then we move on to the Crafter's Workshop. And just do it, David. Now, there's a whole technique behind this one. And then here we go. What do we think of this? Oh, look at that. I hope this shows well. I can never tell what shows well on camera and what doesn't. But wait till you see how easy it is to work with stencils. So like I said from the beginning, I'm going to start simple and we're going to get progressively harder and harder as I go along. I think I'm going to start here. This is a brand new stencil. Actually, well, yes. Actually, what I'll do is I'll show you. I've got some brand new stencils from the Crafter's Workshop. And like I said, while I'm negotiating your best price, I'm also negotiating first to market or exclusive because those make my heart those make my heart happy. So Crafter's Workshop has got some brand new stencils and we're gonna do 2 bundles. One of them is a backgrounds bundle. These are slimline sizes. I only brought in the slimline from Crafter's Workshop. I love, love, love them. So those are the slimline that'll be on a I Want It All. And then we have a floral bundle also done in slimline. And I am going to be working with these as well. I've got 5 different designs here. Love this one. I love them all. I picked the 5 that I just gravitated to. And then we also have a host of stencils in from Creative Expressions. So these are just going to be sold open stock. I don't have the same quantities across the boards, but I think you'll really enjoy what we do with them. And I think you'll be able to see that you can take stencils you already own and incorporate everything I'm doing today with those stencils. So I'm going to start with just basic stenciling. Look at it, so new. It doesn't even have, it doesn't even have a real label on it yet. That's how new these are. Okay, so this is their diamond plate. This is a slimline stencil. A stencil is just a piece of plastic that has been laser cut to put the pattern in. And I'm going to start super easy and just stencil. So somebody who has never seen stenciling before knows what it is. Let me put my glasses on. Just in case you've never seen anybody stencil before. Now, in the 80s, I stenciled my walls. I had borders around everything. I was big into stenciling and using it as a decorator. But these are for crafting and paper crafting and card making and altered art and mixed media and scrapbooking. Oh, scrapbooking. Wait, Claire did a beautiful job. So I'm going to put a little bit of washi tape down just because I want to hold my stencil in place, and I just want to do a quick stencil to show those of you who are new to paper crafting or who have never seen anything like this before, how it works and what we do. Okay, easy peasy. Now I'm going to take, do I have charcoal here? I just do not have a charcoal here. Let's grab a charcoal. I think I want to use a black. I'm going to take one of my blending brushes. These are from Aussie Andrew. Love Aussie Andrew. We call him Aussie Andrew because his company is Couture Creations, and it's located where? Australia. Yes, well done. Okay, I think I'm going to grab those too. And I'm going to use this to brush my color right on. It's just a blending brush. Can you get your blending brushes anywhere? Yes, I think the dollar store has them. Amazon probably has them. We carry Ozzie Andrews because we support his company and we want to carry his brand, but also I like them because they have a little hat that goes onto them. That makes my heart happy. Now I'm going to start with just some soft gray, and this is just a dye-based ink. So anybody's dye-based ink. This happens to be Hero Arts. These are their Hero Hues, and luckily we are fortunate enough to be able to sell the cubes, just their cubes, open stock exclusively. We're the only retailer anywhere in the world that's able to do that. So, but do you have to use Hero Arts ink? No, absolutely not. You can use Memento, you can use Tim, you can use Tim Holtz, that would be. You can use L'Enfant, you can use, I don't know, Catherine Pooler, I think, is a brand out there. There's so many different inks out there that it's crazy. You just need the ink that makes your heart happy and the color that works best for you in a dye-based ink. Not a pigment-based ink. Pigment-based ink is meant for embossing. Dye-based ink meant for coloring. So I'm just going to tap in there. And this is their diamond plate, so I'm just going to put a little color. Great for a guy card. Now I want you to see that in some places I'm getting a lot, and in other places it's very faint. I'm going to do it both ways. I'm going to do half of it in one and half of it in the other. So here I'm just blending in some gray ink. And a stencil is just acting like a stencil normally does. Nothing special, nothing in particular, but guy stencils can sometimes be hard to find, and this is a great little diamond plate stencil, easy to use. All right, I think that's good. I've got some highs, I've got some lows, and I like my ink not to be the same all the way through. That way my paper has some definition and some depth. If I want to go a little darker, I can go a little darker in some areas. I always start out a little lighter because you can always add ink, but it's very hard to take that color away once that color is down. So if I want to add a little bit more and make it a little darker in some places, absolutely. Now when I take my stencil off, look at there. Right? So I've got a little bit lighter, I've got a little bit darker, and that draws your eyes to different areas of the stencil as opposed to it just being flat. Now let's say I went, and I'm just going to turn my paper over because, well, paper has two sides. So if I didn't like this one, I could do it again. And this time I think I will go very dark. Now gray and chalkboard, they're both in the black family. They're both part of the blacks, so I'm just going to keep with my black blending brush. I don't need a blending brush for every ink I own. I need a blending brush for every ink or every color family I own. So you could have blues from Tim Holtz. Now if you have oxide inks are going to want to use a different brush. So you may have a set of brush for your dye-based inks and a set of brush for your oxide inks. But if you've got his distress ink, you could use a pink from his distress ink, and then you could come and use that same brush with a Hero Arts ink, and you could use that same pink brush with a Memento ink. So I want to just get this all one color, as close to one color as I possibly can. It's going to give a completely different look. And I'm just getting it nice and dark. Not that there's one better than the other. It just depends upon what you're going for. Okay, here you've got that super dark. And on this side, you've got a lighter look. Up to you which makes your heart happy. Again, This is all one color. There's no variation in the color, and it stands out. To me, it looks a little flat. Here I've got a little bit more depth perception because I've got different shades of that color. And could I come in? Let's see if I can line it up. I could even come in and darken it up a little bit more. I could take some of that. There we go. Just reline it on up. I think that looks pretty close. I could even take a little bit of that charcoal and darken just a few little places here if I wanted it even darker. But I like having highs and lows. Because again, it adds a little more depth perception. You want to do it all one color? You choose, you have options. And remember, paper's two sides, so I just flipped it over to redo it, and you pick the one that makes your heart happy. Stenciling is very easy and very affordable. Stencils are gonna last you a lifetime if you take care of them because they're plastic. I think the slimline stencils from the Crafters Workshop retail for $7.99, but of course they're going to be on sale with us because we have them on a YouTube Yummy. But stencils, for all intents and purposes, are very, very reasonable when you're talking about crafting supplies. You get the benefit of using it again and again and again and again. It stays in your crafty arsenal forever. And you can change it up every time you use it, depending on what color inks that you use or what mediums you use to fill the stencil in with. So I'm going to put that one aside, and I'm going to move these. And then I think I'm going to do a blend. So let's quickly do a blend with a stencil. And I'm going to grab another, come on, close up. I'm going to grab another Crafters Workshop stencil. This time, again, brand new. This is their hydrangea. It's so stinking pretty. But the lines are very, very fine. See, look, so new that they had to handwrite the label on it. As an independent retailer, as a small mom and pop retailer, when we're able to get something first or exclusively, it kind of sets us apart from all the big boys out there. So I'm always trying to get you the best price, and me, I'm trying to get the early release. You know, to me, that's, ooh, makes my heart happy. Okay, so I'm going to take another piece of white paper, and this is just 80-pound white cardstock. It's simply defined 80-pound. Nothing special about it. It's just a pretty white. And I'm going to tape it back down again. Now, one of the things I do like about the Crafters Workshop stencils is that the slimline, they give you some room to tape at the top and the bottom. So the design doesn't go all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. It makes it a little tricky when the design is all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom, because where are you going to tape it? With my simply defined kaleidoscope stencils, I put little tabs around the outside, 6 of them, so that you can tape it down and still have your full design. Now I'm going to take this one, and I think we're going to play with color, and I'm going to do some blends. So I'm going to start soft, and I'm going to get my blue out, and I'm going to start with cornflower. And again, I'm going to go very light because you can always add color, but taking color away can be a little tricky. And I usually tap off just to make sure that I've got my color. It looks like I got a little green in my blue. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a color. Now, it doesn't look like much, and it isn't. I'm going to try and keep it a little soft. And I can see where my flowers are. And I'm just trying to get rid of that white paper. Anywhere I see white coming through, that tells me I need to add color. These are not layering stencils like my stencils. These are onesies. But that doesn't mean you can't get dimension from them. It's all about how you build that color on them. So if you start out too dark, too heavy, then you can't add any more color because you've already saturated the paper. The paper has already got a dark color on top of it. If I did this in a dark blue and then wanted to come add a light blue on top, that light blue would just absorb, the color would just absorb into that dark blue and you'd never see it. So I want to keep it pretty soft, and I can come back and add more. Absolutely, it's kind of like garlic, you know, you can certainly add more, but sometimes when you've gone too far with the garlic, you've just gone too far with the garlic when you're cooking. So light touch, and then I think I'll come in maybe with a little purple. And again, a light touch. And I'm taking that purple right over that soft blue, and it's deepening that color. And now I might even want to do a little bit of a pink. Pink works for me. Let's go with a cotton candy pink. And let's find my pink little brush. Now I have little rubber bands on my brushes of the color of the ink that I should be using with them. I would love to say that this was my idea. It was not. It was through the chat on Saturday because you know, it gets confusing. Ozzy Andrews brushes are not done in the color. Right now people are doing the whole brush in pink, and this whole brush would be in an orange plastic, and this would be in a green plastic, so you know which color ink goes with it. Ozzy Andrews Couture Creations are always done in black, but he has the lids. So somebody said, just get colored rubber bands, and I'm like, well, of course, how smart are you? And that's the benefit of being part of the live chat. If you've got a question, you've got several hundred people right there willing to answer it for you who may have a suggestion or an idea or a tip or a trick. Kind of nice having, you know, a crafty group of 400, 500, 600 people right there waiting to, you know, all of their experience. And the questions that are asked are often wonderful, and we'll get newbies who will say, I don't know what that is, or I don't know how to use that. And then other people will say, oh, let me show you, or let me, you know, find me on Facebook and we can talk about it. It's a great way to interact and meet new people. Now I'm going back with a little bit of blue just to add a little bit more color all the way around. And now let's go into my green. So my green, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start super light. And just get all the leaves in green. And then maybe a little darker green. Not everywhere, just in some places, just to add a little bit of depth and dimension to it. Look good? I think so. Kind of looks like a hot mess, but I'm okay. So here we are. Now let's see what we get when we take our stencil off. Look at how pretty. And really, if you weren't teaching this and you were just doing it yourself, you would have had this done in about 2.5, 3 minutes. It doesn't take long, but you can see the colors and how they blend, and they give you, they blend together, they melt together. Because a hydrangea, well, hydrangeas are lots of different colors, right? Absolutely. Now what you do with this is up to you. And I'm going to get rid of the background noise. And I call background noise all of this stuff. So let's just get rid of this stuff. And that looks good. And now you get a better feel for what it is. And I don't know, do we want to try and mat it? Oh, what colors do we have here in the opulent? Let's see what we've got here in the opulent. So this is the Sizzix opulent that I was using last week. It's still out today, so I'm just going to grab it and use it. Okay, I like that. So Sizzix makes opulent paper. This is the brand new collection. It is the muted collection. Their opulent paper always has 60 sheets, and it's 10 sheet of every color you see, and they're always specialty finish. So this one has a shimmer rose and then a glitter rose, a shimmer eucalyptus and then a glitter eucalyptus, a shimmer French navy and then a glitter French navy. So they have gold opulent paper packs and silver and charcoal and rose gold and white and festive and just a bunch of them, and they're all absolutely stunning. They also have the coordinating cardstock to go with it. And the nice thing about the Sizzix cardstock is if you buy a pack of cardstock, let's say I bought the festive pack of cardstock, it's 80-pound cardstock, and then I wanted to get the muted pack. You're not gonna have overlapping colors. You're gonna have new colors in every single pack. They don't duplicate their colors. So I think I'm gonna grab for the that's very soft and pretty, right? Do we like that? Or do we want it to be a little more bold? Bold? Okay. Half of you are like, no, go back, don't change it. We're just gonna mat this up real quick, and then we are going to move on. You would use a trimmer. I'm a freehand type of girl. It doesn't mean that my freehand is perfect. It just means that that's what I prefer to do. And when I tape this down, you of course are going to use much more adhesive than I am. I'm using Stacy tape to put this down. That's a double-sided tape. It is super strong. Somebody posted the last week that they used it to hem their pants. Absolutely, you can. We know husbands have rated their wives' crafty space to get Stacy tape because it will hold metal, it will hold plastic, it will hold paper, it will hold chipboard, it will hold beads, it will hold glitter. I mean, there's just nothing that it won't hold. So spouses have started buying extras to give to their significant other so that they don't come raid their Stacy tape stash. Now, not all double-sided tape is the same, so please know if you're getting yours from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, if you're just using it on basic paper, that might be great, but it's not the same as what you're going to get from either us or Scorpal makes a very good tape, that's Sukwang tape, and Elizabeth Crafts also makes a quality tape. So not all double-sided tapes are the same. Okay. And look at that, ready for a sentiment, and we are good to go. So you already have inks, or you can get inks at your local independent retailer. Every local independent paper crafting store has some kind of an ink that you can go get from them and shop with them for that. You've got the stencil, which is going to last you a lifetime. And you've made a beautiful card for somebody. How easy was that? Okay, moving on. I'm going to put that right there. Now we're going to go and do a little bit different. These are the two most common ways that people use stencils. Those are typical. I want to be a little atypical, a little different. And for this, I am going to need you to have a die cutting machine. And today we're going to be using our Sizzix Big Shot machine. It's no longer Mr. Big Shot. Now it's just do it, David. That's his new name. But I am going to be using a Big Shot machine, and I'm going to be using a squishy and a knock-knock. That is not what these items are called. These are sold by Sizzix. They're meant to go with their Big Shot machine, their Big Kick machine, their Tim Holtz Vagabond machine, their Switch machine, their Pro machine, their Plus machine. Do you have an old Fabby Big Shot or an old Vintage Big Shot? These are meant to go with them, and this is called a silicone pad, and this is an impression pad. And the reason we call them a squishy and a knock-knock is because I named them years and years ago because all their accessories were black. The crease pad was black, the squishy was black, the knock-knock was black, and when on camera I showed it to you, there was no way for me to show you, oh, this is the impression pad and this is a crease pad because they both look the same. However, this one knocks, a crease pad thuds, and a squishy, well, you get the idea. So years and years and years and years later, after me pestering and pestering and pestering, they finally changed the colors. But the name has stuck and I'm not giving it up. This is a squishy and a knock-knock. And you need them for the technique we are going to do. Let's see, I think I will start with this one. Yeah, I think I'll start on this one. So I'm going to pull out another new Crafters Workshop stencil. This is called Petal Display. And this time I'm going to grab some white core paper. So like last week, I brought in some paper from Creative Expressions. That one was by Sam Poole, I think. And I think these are both by Jamie Rogers. Okay, I am in love with these two packs, just like I was last week with the Sam Poole. Why do I love them? Because they, for some reason, coordinate so perfectly with the Sizzix new Muted Opulent. Don't know why, but they just go so well. I honestly thought that both companies talked to each other before they chose their colors. But I'm going to pull out some of his 8x8. And I don't want to call this cardstock. That would not be the right thing to call it because it is not. If you think that that it's cardstock, no. This is probably 65 pound. It's like the weight of your standard single-sided paper for your layouts. This is not heavy at all. What it is beautiful. Now you can see that it's got a white background to it. That means this paper started out as white, and the color that you see is printed onto it. So this isn't really blue paper, it's white paper with blue printed onto it. And that's different than a cardstock. A cardstock, when you tear it, is the same color all the way through. That's a paper that's been dyed to that color. It's not printed on it, it's dyed. The paper pulp is dyed to that color and then the cardstock is made. Unlike this type of a paper where you've got a white on the back and the color is printed on it. If you have double-sided paper, if this is even if it's like a solid on one side and then a pretty pattern on the other, if it's double-sided, it started as white paper. And that means it is white core. So when I tear this, Do I want to tear this one? When I tear this, what you see is white. Unlike when I tear this, this is not white. This is purple all the way through. This is a color core paper or a solid core paper, and this is a white core paper. If you're not sure what paper you have, just do a little teeny tiny tear and you'll know right away whether it's a solid core like a regular cardstock or a white core. Why do you want the difference? Because they do different things. Yes, I can just mat a pretty picture on this and be done, absolutely. But because it's white, it gives me the opportunity to use it in a way that it wasn't necessarily intended. And I'm gonna do that. Gosh, well, I already cut this one, so we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna do that using a stencil. Now this is just plastic. It doesn't have like a typical embossing folder where you would put the paper in the middle, close up the embossing folder, and the embossing folder has a male and female or a positive and negative side, and it forces it together, making an embossing. This is just a plastic piece of that has some openings in it that you're supposed to stencil with. But we're gonna do more than stencil. We're going to take it and we're going to use it as an embossing folder. Now, many of you may have seen this before, but some of you may have not. And this is where we're going to start when we use our squishy and our knock knock. I'm going to back it up just a bit so you can see better. So I've got my platform that comes with this machine. My machine will come with a platform. It will come with a solo shim that goes on top right here that allows you to do thin dies. And then it comes with 2 clear plates. That's how your machine is going to ship to you. 2 clear plates, because almost everything you do on this machine gets sandwiched between a clear plate and something else. Another clear plate, a squishy and knock knock, a crease pad, but usually everything gets sandwiched in between 2 clear plates or 2 plates. Today I do not need to use my solo shim. I need to put that away and I don't need to use it at all. I'm going to be doing an embossing, and it shows you how to do an embossing with a die. So if you have a die that you wanted to just do an embossing and not cut it all, you would follow the directions right here. But I'm using a stencil, a plastic stencil, and you're like, really? A plastic stencil is going to give you enough so that you can see it? Yeah, it is actually. Yep, it sure is. So I'm going to put a clear plate down. Now it doesn't matter if it's crystal clear and it's brand new or it's been used a couple times, makes no difference at all. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put my stencil down first. And then the paper that I want to see on my finished product goes against the stencil. If I have my white paper down, that means I'm going to be embossing my white paper, and that's where the embossing is going to come through. I don't want that. I want it on the pink side. So no matter what, if it's double-sided paper, the paper you want to see on your finished item, your finished project, you need to have face down. So I have my platform, my base platform. I have a clear plate or a do not cut plate, whatever it is you're going to use. I have my stencil. I have the paper that I want to see on my finished project. And then I have my squishy. Now my squishy is not as long as my stencil. Look, it's short. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Don't try and center it between the front and the back. Just put your squishy close to the top where your stencil is. And don't worry about the back side. It's going to take care of itself. Then I put my knock knock on top. Now, if I've done this right, My silicone pad, that's squishy, is going to come out the back side. You're going to see it grow and grow and grow. And as it's growing, it's going to put that embossing where the squishy doesn't hit everything right now, but by the time it's being compressed down, it's being compressed down by the rollers that are in here, it's going to stretch and it's going to get that end part that didn't get covered. It's going to get that end part embossed as well. So I'm going to roll it on through. Let's see. So you can see now that my squishy has come a long way. It used to be way up here. Now it is way down there where it needs to be to finish that embossing. See? Now my squishy is almost to the end. Didn't start there, but as it was compressed in the machine, easy peasy mac and cheesy. And just like that, with a basic piece of paper, I've embossed it. Now you can see the debossed side and the embossed side. But because this is white core paper, I have the option of taking a sanding tool. So this is a sanding tool from Couture Creations. It's got 3 different grits on it. I have the option of now taking it and where that embossing happened, I can sand away that top. Because remember, this is printed paper. So now I'm sanding away that print to expose the embossing, to highlight it, to bring it up. Simple sandpaper. So Ozzy Andrew has made sure that his sanding grits, you've got a couple different grits there, is not going to sand through your paper. I mean, if I sat here and just kept going back and forth and back and forth, yes, eventually I would sand through and have a hole. I mean, it is just paper. But look at that. Right? Pretty good. Paper, thin. I mean, woo, thin. And thin paper tends to work better for this. Thicker paper, it's too thick to be pushed in because there's no positive and negative. There's no 2 sides of this pushing and forcing that embossing. So thicker paper has a harder time being forced up into it. Thinner paper, oh, look at that, right? That was pretty easy peasy. Trim it down and make something with it. So super fast and super easy. Let's do it one more time, and let's just grab a different colored paper this time. How about this super dark purple? That makes my heart happy. Do I have to do the whole stencil? No, if I wanted to do just a portion of it, I could. It's up to me. So again, this paper is by Creative Expressions. It's part of the Jamie Rogers collection, and I'm pretty sure we bought all of it, and there wasn't much to buy. So I'm assuming most of you have some kind of a thin, single-sided or double-sided paper at home to play with. I've got my base platform. I've got my clear plate that's been cut into. I've got my stencil. And there is no up or down for the stencil. It makes no difference which way you put it. It's fine. I've got my paper with my pretty purple face down. I've got my squishy covering kind of towards the top, because as I compress it through the roller, it's going to stretch out. Pull my paper down just a little bit. Okay, there. And then I've got my knock knock. And I'm gonna send it on through. And it rolls through very easily. If it's not rolling through easily, you've got a sandwich wrong. And my squishy is gonna get longer and longer and longer and longer. In fact, it's almost poking out the end. So you want your squishy to come out the back end. That tells you that it's being compressed. Okay, there it is, sanding. And what a difference it makes. Over here, nothing. Here I've started to sand. What a difference it makes. All right. Trim it down. In fact, I could have left some of that paper there and just made it a border. And I'm good to go. You saw how simple that was, not hard at all. Let's move on. This time, so I've done those. I've done this one and this one. I think this time I will use pattern paper. So the coordinating paper for the simple, I don't want to call it cardstock, the solid color paper, the coordinating paper is called Floral Fusion. It's beautiful. Again, it is not heavy. It's really pretty. And it really looks good with the muted collection from Sizzix. It just does. It just looks, and it coordinates here. It's just beautiful. So what do I want to do? Do I want to use this one? How about we try this one? And we try I don't know, maybe this one. So let's pull these two out. And I'm going to put this over there. And let's see about using, does that one look good to you? This is a set from Creative Expressions. It's actually a 3-pack. There's 3 stencils in here. So you've got a tiny little one that just has beautiful little floral edge to it, little flowers like the sides of little flowers. You've got one a little bit bigger, and then you've got a full size. And I think or do I like this one? I do this one? Okay, let's try this. So I'm going to start with the full size. And I like that color right there. So I'm going to just cut off my little tag portion. And I'm going to, let's see about getting that. I'm going to trim this down. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring over my Big Shot machine. I've got my base plate. I've got my stencil. And it doesn't matter which way. I've got my paper. Now I just want to make sure my flower is where I want my flower to be. So I want my flower there. I'm going to turn it over. Oh, got to put a clear plate down. Clear plate. Then my flower. And then my squishy and my knock knock. Now this one is 6x6 stencil, so my squishy is going to cover it just fine. Easy peasy. And then my knock knock. And I'm going to send it on through. And again, the goal is to make sure that that squishy, that silicone pad is going to come out the back end. And I can see it growing and growing and growing. And now it's coming out. I can see it getting longer because it's being compressed in the roller. As the roller pushes down on my sandwich, it's making that squishy go just that, squish out. And now it's coming out the back end. Now, I don't want to roll back. I don't want to go and then take it backwards. I don't want to do that because the squishy does not like going back and forth. It's a... okay. It only goes one way. So, don't go... It's not like a die where you want to go back and forth and rotate. You just want to put it through one time and let it be. If it doesn't do the embossing, then then the sandwich is wrong. So let me move these over here and put this there, and let's see what we've got. So you can see on the back side, it absolutely has that embossing without any question. I mean, it's there. You can see it, and this is actually kind of a deboss. But I want to turn it over to this side. And then I can take my sandpaper and once again, go in there. And where it's embossed, and I hit it with the sandpaper, that image is going to start coming up. Are you going to feel bumpity, 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 bumpity? No, you'll feel bumpity, 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 sound effects required, when you are using an embossing folder, because that's got two sides that will force the paper in between both of them, making an embossing. This, you're just squishing that paper into a plastic stencil. So when you run your hand over it, it's almost flat. You're not going to feel that bumpity, bumpity, bump. The nice thing about that is that the dimension, you get the depth of everything because you are doing an embossing, but you don't get the height of it, and you don't get the ridges, the bumpity bumpity that you might want to try and glue something down on. That can be a little difficult sometimes if the embossing is so deep. 3D embossing folders. Sometimes you gotta really use a good strong adhesive to put something down on top of it because it's got ridges. So the adhesive doesn't have a flat surface to adhere to. Okay, so soft and sweet. It's there, but it's not in your face. It's beautiful, but not overdone. It's complementary, but not taking away from anything else. You could then add some elements to this without it being just too much. Really very pretty. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side. Let's grab the smaller one. Let's grab this one. And let's do that one right there. Okay, so wash, rinse, repeat. I'm not changing anything up. I'm doing everything exactly the way I did before. And of course, these stencils could be used the way I did with the hydrangea or the diamond plate. I could have just stenciled them and been done, and that would have been fine too. But I'm trying to get the most out of what I've already purchased or what I'm looking to purchase. And if you can do this with a stencil, and 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 you can do this with a stencil. Well, your $7, $7.50, even at full price, is money well spent because you're able to do so much. Do this there, lay that flat, get a squishy, get a knock-knock, and send it on through. Should be a really easy roll. And I can see it on the back side. I can see it on the back side, and I can sand it on the front. And I'm just taking off that printing because the paper started as white. Okay. So now you can see it. But what if you liked that? Okay. What if you wanted the outline to be what you are hitting as opposed to the actual flower? Not a problem. Let's start with a piece of, let's just go back to that dark purple since we have it. And I've got this one right here. Let's just cut this down. So when I embossed this one, it pushed the main flower up and through. But on the back side, it's debossed, which means that my lines are what got pushed. So I want to now try and do it this way as opposed to that way. Either way is going to be fine. It just depends upon how you put your paper down. So maybe I'll do, let me grab another sheet of this. Maybe I'll do it both ways so you can see the difference. Do I have another piece of my purple? Hello. Oh, I don't. How about a piece of blue? All right, we'll do it in blue. Oh, I'm already dirty. That way I can do it both ways, just so you can see. So I'm going to do it this way, the way we've been doing it, with my platform, my plate, my embossing folder, my paper face down, my squishy, and my knock knock. I'm going to send it through, and then I'm going to reverse it. I just want you to be able to see both ways. My squishy is going to come out the back end as it gets compressed. Oh, you can see it growing, and it's going to grow more, and it's going to grow more, and it's going to grow more. I'm going to put this one aside. And now I'm going to come back, and this time I'm going to have that blue paper facing me. So far I've been doing it down. Now I'm going to have it facing me, and we're going to see the difference. Send it on through. Squishy out the back end. So I've got a positive and a negative. Let's sand it so you can see the difference. And all I did was reverse the way I put my paper in. And then let's do this one. Really just depends upon what look you're going for, but you don't have to choose. You get both. So here I've sanded the design. Here I've sanded the outline. Here I've sanded on pattern paper. And here I just inked it. All with the same stencil. Did you know? You might have. Woohoo if you did. But if you didn't, you're now looking at all of your stencils in a totally different way than you did before. Absolutely. And we have still just played with paper. We're still just on paper. Right? All right, let's move on. Now we're gonna get a little bit more technique-y. We're just gonna get a little bit, we started super easy. We kept it easy for everybody who's never stenciled before. Now we're gonna get a little bit more. And let's see, what stencil do I wanna use? How about this one? This is again a new one from the Crafters Workshop. Just do it, David. Just do it. You know you want to. You knew you wanted to let me have these first. You just knew. It was easy, right? Okay, I'm gonna grab some white paper. This time we're gonna go one step further. And for this, you're kind of just gonna have to go with me on it. So I'm gonna show it a couple times, but you just have to trust. A little faith, a little trust, a little pixie dust. All right, here's my stencil. I'm gonna take my Versamark and I'm gonna Versamark over the top of my stencil. What is Versamark? Versamark is a embossing medium. It is a type of an ink or a medium that will stay wet long enough for me to use an embossing powder. What's embossing powder? It is finely ground up plastic that when you heat it, melts and makes into a solid. So I'm gonna take this, and if I want to, I can tape it down just so it doesn't move, up to me. So a little bit of tape and a little bit of tape. Okay, and I'm going to use my Versamark. And I'm going to go in there, and instead of inking like we were, I'm going to put a bunch of Versamark all over. I want to make sure my whole stencil, every little inch of it, has been Versamarked. It's hard to tell because the Versamark is clear. So I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna look, and so you can see a glare. So I wanna make sure that there's not any dull spots, a matte spot. That means that the paper's matte finish. So I wanna make sure I don't see any of that. And I don't. Now I'm gonna lift it up. Oh, I got a little fur ball in there. Little guy fur ball. Come on out. And this is ready to have embossing powder put down on it. And I will absolutely do that. So I'm going to put some embossing powder down, and I'm going to let it kind of walk on down, and where that embossing medium is, it's going to cling. I'm going to set this to the side for just a minute, and I'm going to put my embossing powder away. And normally we would heat set that, and I will come back to heat set that, but that's not what I wanted to do. That's the after effect. That's the bonus that I get. I want to take this piece that has all that Versamark on it, And I want to bring over my Big Shot machine. I want to put my stencil with all that Versamark on it right down onto my clear plate. Doesn't have to be taped down. Just don't know if I can pull the tape off. I want to take a sheet of white paper over the top. I want to put my squishy and my knock knock again over the top. And I want to send it through. That squishy is going to get longer and longer and longer. It's going to come and grow and grow and grow, continuing to force that embossing. Pull it up. Well, I crooked it a little bit, but that's okay. And let's see what I've got. So another piece of paper. And we'll do the same. Let's do the copper. I'm going to let it walk on down. Let gravity do the work. And where that embossing medium was on the stencil, it is now transferred onto my paper. I went a little bit rogue, it went a little bit sideways, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to take all this embossing powder and put it back. Are you still with me? Have I scared some of you off? Now I have this and I have that. Same stencil, positive and negative. I have to heat this with the heat tool. Right now this is just powder and I can wipe it off with my finger. If I don't do something with it, I can't use it like this. It'll just wipe completely off. I need to heat it. I need to take that plastic into a solid. So let's start with this one, and I'm going to bring my heat tool over. Now this is a Sizzix heat tool. It has 2 speeds. It's mine. And it's going to get hot enough to change that embossing powder, that plastic. It's going to heat it and make it into a solid. Can you use a blow dryer to do this? No, it will not get hot enough. Can you use a paint stripper? Yes, please be careful. It will almost get too hot. But I can take this, and as it heats up, the color is going to change. And as I see it changing, I'm moving my heat tool with the change. So look at the difference. No heat, heat. No longer moves. It's been made into a solid. And remember, this is the one where I just sat the embossing or the stencil down to get the Versamark on it. This is the benefit. This is the twofer. And I'm just going to heat until it's all done. Okay. How long does it take to dry? The minute your paper's cooled down, it's dried. Can you see this right here? It has not turned from a powder into a solid. It's still a powder. That means I did not get enough heat there. So all I have to do is go back. And watch it turn. And then I'm embossed. But this is the added benefit. Let's do the one that we sent through the Big Shot machine. This was the paper. I needed to put that stencil on something to add all that Versamark, so I might as well get a beautiful image out of it. This is the one where we actually transferred the image via our Big Shot machine. I'm just going to watch it heat. I'm going to move my heat tool slowly. You need to leave that heat tool. To do this, you're never going to get it hot enough in any one place to heat. You're adding heat, you're taking it away. You're adding heat, you're taking it away. Every time you take that heat away, it starts to cool. So if you just keep it in one area until you see the embossing powder turn, then you slowly move on. I think that looks good. Let's get rid of the noise all around it. That way we can focus down on what we've got. All right. Which way makes your heart happy? Do you have to choose? No, you can have it both. Right? And then what if I wanted to color them? What if I didn't want to just leave it white? What if I wanted to add some color to it? How about some green? And I'll do half so you can see. And a baby wipe, because the embossing, now that it's heat set, is going to act as a resist to the ink, which means it's not going to get colored at all. And then I just take my baby wipe and just wipe that extra ink right off. And now I'm coloring. Or the exact opposite here. And let's wipe that off. Just a light wipe, just to get any residual ink. And now I have it this way, or I have it that way. Up to you which way you like more. The nice thing is you don't have to choose. You've got a stencil that's going to let you do both. Okay, let's do that again, so that you see it one more time, and then we have to move on. We're like, what? Move on, wait, what more? Yeah, there's more. So do we want to keep to the same stencil? What if I grabbed this one? Okay, so first things first, I need to ink it up. First things first, let's ink it up. So my washi tape just to keep it in place. And when I say ink it up, I don't mean with ink, I mean with Versamark. And it's not so much about the paper having good coverage. If you're not going to want to do a twofer like I just did, then it really doesn't matter what paper you use. I was using downstairs when I was playing, I was just using copy paper because frankly, I wasn't going to do this piece as a finished item, as a finished project. So I was just using copy paper so that I could get my Versamark on my stencil. It's the stencil you need to be sure is completely covered. So let's take a look. So I'm looking at the reflection to see if I see any kind of matte spots, dull spots. I don't see any. Oh, it looks like I did a good job there too. Let's go ahead and we'll send this through. Let's move this one. That there, I should have cut my paper first. I think that's probably close enough. Bring my machine over. And remember, we start with my base platform, then my clear plate, then my stencil with all that Versamark on it, all that shininess on it. You don't need to have the washi tape if you don't want the washi tape. I can pull it off if you'd prefer, but then it's sticky. And see, on this one, it's causing me to not be able to move it. There we go. And then let's put my paper down. Let's put my squishy. My knock knock. And let's send it through. I don't want to go back and forth. This isn't a die. Can you see the embossing? I don't know what you can see and what you can't see. Let's put that there and move this out of the way. And maybe we do silver this time. And where the stencil had the Versamark, it's going to transfer that Versamark onto my paper. Let's let it walk on down. Gravity do the work. Oh, this is good to show you. Okay. That's good to show you. So, I want you to see. Can you see this? Does that pattern look familiar? Does that pattern look familiar? Can you see where the embossing powder is sticking inside my flower? That pattern right there, that's because I had Versamark on my clear plate and I didn't clean it off. So it's transferred some of that image. Okay, let's do it again. I'm going to heat this one just for the sake of heating it, but then let's do it again, and let's do it after cleaning my clear plate. So let's just heat this one. Okay, so now maybe you can get a better, oh, nope, I totally missed that area. So now you can see maybe a little bit better those hash marks in there from the previous stencil. And you're like, but how did that happen? I don't get it. Okay, so when I put my stencil down, remember it has Versamark all over the top, right? And then I put my paper on, and then I put my squishy. Remember how I said, don't worry about the squishy, it's gonna grow out the back side. And it does. But as it's growing out the back side, it's also pushing some of your Versamark off and into your clear plate, which is why I had the transfer. So all I have to do, gosh, and I don't know, do we want to use this one? We'll put it, I don't want to not use it, but let's put it up there. So all I have to do is just clean my plate and make sure that there's no Versamark on it. Dry it off, and let's do it again. So if your image is not coming out as clean and as clear as you want, it may be that there's a transfer from the image you previously did. Let's grab another piece of paper. Let's grab my stencil. That's my Versamark side. Tape it down if I want to use it again, meaning I want to use the negative. And so really all I'm caring about is getting the Versamark on my stencil. But I might as well, if I'm doing this and I want to use the negative, it's just another opportunity to create something with it. Need to make sure that my Versamark is all over my stencil. That's the most important thing to me. Okay, should we see? Got a little blue thing under there again. Or is it on top? It's on top. Zoop. So plenty of Versamark. Before I do anything, I'm going to cut myself a piece of paper. Bring my machine over, my base platform, my clear plate, which is now clean. There's no residue of Versamark anywhere on it. My stencil, I've still got my negative there. I'm going to take my little tapes off because for me it's easier. I'm going to lay it on top. Put my paper on top. Put my squishy, my knock knock, and send it through. And it's a super easy roll. And let's see if I did any better this time. Grab my silver, grab my and let's see if I did any better. And I'm just going to let my silver do the walking. I'm going to let it walk on down. And as it walks on down, gravity is going to do the work for me. Yeah, a little much there. Don't know what I did there. Shoop. There we go. So better. I've got a little zoop there, but much better. Anywhere I think I might need a little more. All right, I think I'm going to be okay with that. So let's put all my embossing powder back. Let's close her up and let's heat. And you can see how close I can get down to my paper with the Sizzix heat tool. I'm not burning my paper, I'm not scorching my embossing powder, and yet I'm sitting right down on top of it. And hopefully you can see it turn. If I go this way. And it's turning from a powder into a solid. And anywhere I've missed, I just have to go back and look for a dull spot. Okay. So we took our stencil and we used it with our die cutting machine. Doesn't matter whose die cutting machine you have, as long as you are able to do an embossing. They would have come with some kind of a squishy and a knock-knock, or you could purchase a squishy and a knock-knock to go with their machine. But then I have two of these. I don't know if it's still wet enough. We'll try. Let's see. The worst that can happen is it doesn't do anything. Let's grab that silver again. If that embossing medium has dried, then my embossing powder is not going to stick. But all we can do is try. Let gravity do its job. Tap, tap, tap. A little bit there I want to take off, a little bit there I want to take off. It looks good to me. How about you? This is the benefit. This is the extra. This is the after that we get because we had to Versamark up our stencil to make it go through our Big Shot machine to get this. Now I'm going to get the negative. Lid. Anybody seen the lid? It's here somewhere. There it is. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's ink it, or let's heat it up. And now I'll have the positive and the negative. And you can put it away and use it later. You don't have to use this right now, or you don't have to use this one right now. But if you want this, you might as well do this too and put it through your machine. And if you want this, you might as well do this too and have it extra. The only thing you have to remember is that you have to heat set right away. If you, oh, and I missed down there too, boy. You can't put the embossing powder on and then file it away for a later time. No, it's gonna make a mess. And now we can decide how we wanna color it. Do we wanna color it? See, all of this I didn't do. I didn't heat set any of that. And look at it, it just wipes right away. That's what happens if you don't add any heat. It just wiped right away. All of that up there. But now we want to color it. So what do we want to color it with? How about we go with some pink? And I'm just putting it wherever. And if I hadn't heat set this whole thing thoroughly, some of it would be wiping off right now. And then maybe we go in with some purple. Add a little purple. Maybe a little brighter purple. How about a little brighter purple? And I'm just going for it. And then let's come back and let's do my pink again. Just to kind of blend everything together. And then we'll take a little bit of a baby wipe. And we'll wipe off the excess. A little bit of a baby wipe. Wipe off the excess. My silver is still silver. Let's cut out the noise. Get rid of all that excess that we don't want to see. And look at what we did. Right? Or we have this one. Which makes your heart more happy. Good news is you don't have to choose. Come back in with just a little bit of my pink. Just to brighten that color up. A little bit of a baby wipe over the top. Pink, pink. Which do you like better? You have options. You can do both at the same time. You don't have to color them. You don't have to color them until you're ready. But if you're going to do one, you might as well do the other. And being able to use that squishy and knock knock gives you the positive and the negative. If you were gonna just Versamark through the stencil, well, let's do something more. Let's take it a step further. What if I want to do it on pattern paper? Let's bring over my pad again. And which stencil do I want to use? If I use that one. And what if I use this paper? Or that paper? Let's use that paper. Why not, right? Okay. So the one's by Sam Poole, Creative Expressions. I'm going to cut my paper down to size. I'm going to grab a piece of white paper. Again, if you don't want to have the positive and the negative, all you have to do is use copy paper. I'm going to tape this down because I'm going to try and get both the positive and the negative. Now, Creative Expressions are stencils where you don't have a lot of room to tape. They did not give you a lot of places where you can put some tape down to hold it in place. Unlike the Crafter's Workshop, where on those slim lines you absolutely have some space. Creative Expressions, you kind of got to look for your places. Okay, let's grab my Versamark. And again, I'm caring more about the stencil. I want the look from the stencil. But if I happen to get what is on top? Holy smokes. If I happen to get the paper underneath really well done and I can use that one too, well, that's even better. But I'm really after getting that stencil well Versamarked up. And because the stencil is plastic, the Versamark even takes longer to dry on it because it has nothing to absorb into. I'm going to take my tape off. I don't know, we'll see how well I did in a minute. Let's work on this one first. All right, come on, tape off my fingers. Okay, so let's bring our machine over. Platform. Clear plate. Without the tape on it. Creative Expressions stencil. That tape got there. Let's see if I can take a little bit of Versamark just where that tape was. And go, that tape is going to leave that space. Okay, I think I got it. They don't leave you a lot of room. Stencil. patterned paper face down. Squishy. Knock, knock. Send it on through. Easy roll, kind of like butter. Back and forth, not needed. Oh, I hope my plate was clean. We'll see if I got a transfer. Okay, let's see what I got. So I can see the embossing is there. How about we go with gold this time? And I'm going to let gravity do the work for me. And I'm a dumper because it's all going to go back in anyway. Oh, that's where my tape was. Let's go ahead, put it right back in. And you can see where my tape was. Because of course the Versamark didn't stick because I had put tape there and I had put tape there. That's a boo-hoo, but that's okay. Let's heat. See what we get. Shoop. Watching embossing powder turn is like magic. Embossed, not embossed. Pretty dramatic difference, huh? Not heat set, dry and ready to go. Let's finish it. Let's get rid of the noise. and see what you get. That's just patterned paper, but the colors look great, right? All I did was emboss on top. That's it. That's all I did. Let's do it one more time. And let's grab another. Do we want to do it on another piece of pattern, or do we want to do it on? Oh, let me grab that purple we started with. I was going to commit to the purple, but then I didn't, and now we are. So that's my sticky side. Cut it down to size. I am going to wipe my plate off just to make sure that there's no transfer. Dry it off just to make sure that I've got no Versamark on it. Bring over a white sheet of paper. Boy, now I've got quite a few of these that need to be embossed. I'm not going to put down any tape because they don't give me enough room. So if it moves underneath, oh well. I'm caring about what I put on top. Yep, see, I just moved it. And I just moved it again. So this one we're not going to be able to get the second image from. Just need you to leave me a little space around the edges. But don't do tabs. I already did tabs. Those are taken. Okay. I missed a spot right there. Oh, that looks good. See, this is now just a mess. So I can fold it in on itself, turn it over, whatever I want to do, use it later. Bring my machine over. Base plate, clear plate, stencil with the Versamark facing me, paper facing down, squishy, knock knock, send it through. If you didn't know how to do this before, are you looking at all your stencils? Have you pulled them out while you're sitting here with me and we're crafting, going, oh, okay, I can do that with this one and with this one and with that one. Whole new life to your stencils. We'll see what I got. Let's grab, how about the copper? And we'll walk it down. And everywhere there's Versamark. My embossing powder is going to stick. Oh, that looks good! I'm sorry, I get excited every single time. I never do the same thing twice. I never make the same thing twice. And so every time I grab new paper and a new color and it looks good, I'm excited. Because these YouTubes are not edited or scripted or pre-planned. I mean, I know what product I'm gonna play with, but I have no idea what colors I'm gonna use and what I'm gonna do. It's exciting for me, just like hopefully it is for you when something just comes out so pretty. See it changing? See how fast it can go when you just do it. Right, David? Just do it, David. All right. Hopefully I don't have any. Oh, I do. I have one dark spot right there. You see that little tiny something? Let's get rid of it. Let's make sure that it's all. What do you think? Let's cut out the noise. Chop, chop, chop all the. One more. Out all the riff-raff and the extra stuff we're not going to want. And just leave the good. All right. What do we think? It's pretty cool on pattern paper. You don't have to do anything more. It's done. No coloring. Right? And people are going to go, how the heck did you do that? Oh, so simple. You used a stencil. Who knew? And then, of course, I've got this. And how long has that been sitting there? We've done 2 of them since then. And see how long the Versamark stays wet? There's my negative, but we got to move on. I got one more to show you. I still have this one up here I haven't done. Oh, man. Let's just heat this one super fast because then I've got one more to show you. I have to decide what stencil I'm going to use. See how close I'm getting? Are you watching it turn? SMS guy James has fallen in love with embossing powder. He wants to use embossing powder on everything. So everything that's still dark is still powder, but I'm just cutting it off so I don't care. And can you cut these down to an A2 size? Of course you can. You don't have to use the 6x6. You can cut them to any size that makes your heart happy. Ooh. Ooh, you choose. Done. Moving on. What stencil am I going to use? This one makes my heart happy. Okay. So another sample. So we've had a couple sample stencils. We've got the Crafter's Workshop stencils. Sample is Creative Expressions. And this one, we are going to start with white paper. Yes, we're going to start with white paper. And I'm going to bring it on over. Again, I'm not going to worry about getting a positive and a negative because they really haven't given me any extra place to tape down. Which I wish they had, but that's okay. So I'm going to ink this up just like we've been doing. Maybe if I kind of hold it in place. You can't even put a magnet on it because I need the whole top to be covered in Versamark. So it's not like I can even hold it in place with a magnet on a platform. I think that looks okay. Oh, nope, I can see I missed a spot. So again, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, I think that looks good. Let's go. And I'm going to use white paper. So let's cut a piece of paper down to size. Or close to. Let's bring my machine on over. So far my platform hasn't changed at all. I keep using the same sandwich. That on top. I wonder if I should, maybe I'll flip my plate just in case, because I didn't clean it. Down. Paper, squishy and knock knock. Oh, don't move. Squishy, knock knock. Send it on through. So what am I going to do this time? Well, I'm going to change it up one more time. Maybe two more times. Pull my stencil off. Hopefully I've got Versamark everywhere. Let's go ahead and walk it on down. I think I'll just use Copper's Handy. That's what we're going to go with. Start at the top. Let gravity do the work. Anywhere I miss some, That's where I can go back and dump. Looks pretty good. Let's heat set. Lid, because I know myself. I get right down on top of that paper. Okay. I don't think I missed any spaces. I think I'm good. Now, I'm going to take my stencil and I'm going to clean it. So I don't want any Versamark on my stencil. The side that I was using for the Versamark, I just need to make sure it's all off. Just want to clean my stencil and make sure that there's no Versamark. Why do I want to do that? Because I'm going to layer my stencil right back on top. Only this time, because I'm layering it on top, the side that had the Versamark was face up, so my paper was on top. Now my paper's on the bottom, so I need it to rotate. I just need to flip it and reline it up. And I don't want any Versamark there. And what I want to see is white paper. I'm masking off everything I just did. Remember last week we learned about flipping a stencil? That's what I'm doing here. I'm flipping a stencil. And this time I absolutely need to tape it down, but I've got room. Because I can tape it anywhere there's not an opening. So anywhere there's not an opening, I can put some tape down to get it to hold to my paper. Oh, I moved it just a little bit. All I want to see is white paper. That looks good. That looks good. And that looks good. So I've got just a little bit of tape here and there just to hold it in place. And now what I see is white paper through. What am I going to do? Let's grab my Versamark again. And this time I want it to be on the paper. This time I don't care about the stencil. So that's why I don't care that the tape is there, because as long as the tape isn't covering up one of my openings, I'm good. I want it to be on my stencil or on my paper. That's why I had to tape it down, because I need it to stay in place. You think that's good? All we can do is try. It's only paper. Take my stencil off. And because I had embossed it, the stencil almost clicked into place because the paper's slightly raised. And now let's grab, how about the florals? How about florals from Stampendous? So these are embossing powders in florally colors. They come with a couple spoons. I'm just gonna drop some in some in like the flowery places. And by doing this, I'm using very little, and I am acknowledging that I can't put it back into my pot. I'm going to be mixing colors here, so I'm using very little. You can always add more, but if you get too much on, because I'm going to blend them, I can't put it back. So a little goes, in embossing powder world, a little goes a long way. So I've got some blue. What if I do a little bit of light blue? Just add a little bit of light blue in there. So as you can see, I can't put it back. I can't. It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a blend. And I'm using very little. And the little spoon is helpful because, well, it keeps you from using too much. Now I need some greens. Now I'm just going to kind of put green everywhere. And I'm just going to be kind of willy-nilly with it because I'm going to end up moving it all. If I need more, I can add more. But I'm agreeing and acknowledging that I can't put, all day today I've been putting my embossing powder back in my jar. And no, I can't do one, no, it's really difficult to do one color at a time on this because you're almost painting with your embossing powder. All right, well, let's see if I've got enough here. So I'm using the florals, and it kind of looks like a hot mess. And now I'm going to start moving it. And I'm not going to care if the blue goes into the green and the green goes into the blue. I just want to start moving it so that every place that's white gets some embossing powder on it, whether it be a blend of the blue and the green, okay, and any place that I think I missed some, I'm just going to layer this right back on top. I'm just going to layer that blend right back on top, and if I missed an area, then I'm just going to add a little bit more. See how little I have left over? That's the goal. In fact, even that's a little too much. But that's very little left over. And you could make a mishmash pot. Absolutely, it's embossing powder. You could have a green mishmash and a blue mishmash. Now let's heat set. So because I did the embossing first, because I ran it through my Big Shot machine with the squishy and the knock knock, it pushed that paper up, remember, and I put the copper down and it didn't hit any part that was white. Then I was able to take that stencil and kind of click it in place so that I could add a double embossing. And let's just heat it till it melts. The colors are intensifying. I think I'm good. And now I've double embossed using a stencil. You can feel the embossing behind it. It needs to have been raised. You can see that it was pushed up. The paper was pushed up. So all the blues and the greens are slightly raised, allowing me to do a double embossing. What do you think? It is all embossed, except for that one little spot I missed. You can see where I missed it. Right? Okay, so what do you do if that happens? Oops, pin. A little bit in there. A little bit in there. Anywhere I missed, a little bit, a little bit. Oh, that was enough. This I can put all back in. Oops, pin. Although there's not enough there. Fixed my oops. Heat set and be done. Oops, pin for your Versamark. It's a Versa marker. Better and fixed. It's pretty cool, right? I'm going to do it one more time so you can see the double embossing. So another stencil. White paper. I'm not going to care about getting a double embossing out of it. I'm just wanting to get my, let's cut my paper down to size. Let's do that ahead of time. So if you're not carrying, use copy paper and not good white paper. If you're not trying to get 2 embossings out of one, just use copy paper to put down to get the Versamark on it as opposed to nice white paper. Ink, 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 ink. Can't use tape because the tape leaves a mark and then I don't get embossing in there. Okay. Bring over my machine. Platform hasn't changed at all. Sandwich hasn't changed. You're just doing the same thing, wash, rinse, and repeat. Send it on through. Forward only, not forward and back. Squishy's gonna grow and come out the back end. Versamark has been transferred onto my white paper. You can see the embossing. How about gold? Dump, dump, dump. Let it walk on down. Let gravity do the work. Okay, this can all go back in. Lid, because I know myself. Heat emboss. The gold is becoming bright and shiny. That plastic is melting into a solid. I'm just using 80-pound paper. I can see I missed a spot there. And done. Make sure I didn't miss any place. I missed that whole area right there. Look at that. That I missed. I missed here. I missed there. Okay. Paper's cooled down. The minute your paper is cool, so is your embossing, and you're good to go. Let's take my stencil and let's wipe it down. because what had the Versamark on it is now going to have to go against my paper. I have to flip my stencil and it has to go against my paper. So I don't want any extra Versamark because I don't want any embossing powder going where it shouldn't go. I want to keep that gold pristine. So I just wipe down my stencil with a baby wipe. Dry it off. And then line it back up. And it's gonna kind of, look at that, click kind of right, and look at that, it covers it right up. It's acting as a mask. That was painful. It's acting as a mask. This time I can tape it down, and I want to tape it down, and I need to tape it down. As long as that tape doesn't cover any of my floral, any of my openings. Look at that, man, that just looks perfect. Holy smokes, artichokes. Okay, Versamark back, right over the top. Okay. You think I got everything? If I didn't, I have a Versamarker. Peel off my tape. Open it up. And what color embossing powder do we want to use? Let's grab that florals again. And how about we go with like a light pink and a dark pink maybe? So a little bit goes a long way. I'm going to sprinkle some of this over my roses. Sprinkle over my roses, and then I'll come back with that darker pink maybe. Ooh, that was a lot. Put some of that back. So what I like about the kit that I have here, the floral kit, is that when you get the kit, you get all of the fabulous colors. But Stampendous also sells these open stock. So if there's one color that you use, this allows you to play with all the floral colors, which is really, really nice. But if there's one color you use again and again and again, you don't want to buy the whole kit again. You can just get it in the large jar. I like that. That way you're not stuck if you use the same color again and again. Is that the color I want? No, we'll see. You can buy just the color you need to replace what you've used. But the opening you get, you know, with the kit, you get all the colors to play with. And then after time, you'll know which one is your favorite, is your go-to. And maybe you buy that one in just the full-size jar, but at least you've got all of those other colors to play with when you want to. You're not limited. I like that about Stampendous. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it done, and I'm gonna go with greens. So I know, see, I can't take it off because if I do, it's gonna fill in all the leaves. So I can't I can't take it off. Could I go in there and try to just put Versamark down over just the florals? I suppose, but that seems like an awful lot of work for me. And I think that this is going to be just beautiful. And I just want to get some green here and there and everywhere because I'm going to add some of the darker green. And then we're going to go. Plenty. And then let's go. I'm just going to sprinkle that in just to mix it in. Okay, plenty. Love that it comes with the little spoons. I'm just kind of moving it all over. If it's pink where it should be green and green where it should be pink, I'm going to be okay with that. Okay. And just kind of everywhere I see that I might need it. And because there's no stop and there's no start, there's no hard lines. There's no demarcation lines for the embossing powder. That look pretty good? Let's heat and see what we get. And you can watch it turn. Now, is it going to hurt the gold embossing powder? No. And the colors melt into each other and they blend. Okay, let's see. It's beautiful, and it almost looks like cloisonne. It almost looks like epoxy, like it's been. It just. It looks so rich. Let's get rid of the background noise here. It looks so rich, so elegant. And it was done with a stencil. It's that squishy and knock that lets you get that first stencil in, that lets you get that first layer in, that background layer by running it through your die cutting machine and then going back on top. What do you think? Are we yay? Are we, I don't know. Do you see the options that you can do with a simple plastic stencil? All the things we've done with a simple plastic stencil. All the different options we have with a simple plastic stencil. What works for you? Which did you like best? Maybe you start here because you're a newbie, and from there, then you move to here. And from here, then maybe you get yourself a die cutting machine and you try here. And you just keep exploring. All of the scrap pieces of paper you have, you can now utilize. Any stencil, even if it's just a portion of a stencil. And then take it to a whole nother layer. Stencil on patterned paper with Versamark. Transfer it with your squishy and your knock knock. Or do a double. Okay, I know it was a lot. I know, but there's just no cutting it short. Sorry. Holy smokes. Okay, so like everything's on sale. I mean, I've got all the stencils from Creative Expressions. Oh, one more. The I Want It All bundle. Wahoo. But you know, you got to see samples still, so I guess I went up too early. Sorry. I just know that this is long. Okay, so brand new, first to market from Crafters Workshop. This is the floral bundle. Wait till you see the samples. Oh my gosh. Wait till you see the sample with this one. Oh, makes my heart happy. I've got the background stencils that I used from the Crafters Workshop, again on an I Want It All or open stock, your choice. I've got the paper pads from Creative Expressions that I used today. They're thin, they're white core, and they're perfect for this. We're doing an I Want It All on the two of them because they coordinate. We have a few that'll be available open stock. I will do the floral from Stampendous on a YouTube Yummy. We'll do the powders again. There's 6 of them. These are the detail powders. They hold to everything. The girls used a lot of the Opulent for samples, so we'll keep that on a YouTube Yummy. The Versamark will be on sale. The Heat Tool will be on sale, but more importantly, let's get to samples because I have a ton of them to show you. Okay. That is embossing powder in there. Can you see the glare? Can you see that it's got a sheen to it? That's embossing powder with a Crafters Workshop new stencil. This one has been embossed and inked. That's a Creative Expression stencil. Here is a Crafters Workshop stencil. Beautiful, right? Crafters Workshop stencil. Watercolor with the background Crafters Workshop stencil. Look at how beautiful these florals are in the slimline. Then we have the diamond plate from the Crafters Workshop. SMS dude James did this one. He loves the colors. He loves embossing. That's his first time ever doing like a reverse like that. Yay! Creative Expressions. Crafter's Workshop. Creative Expressions. One of the small ones, look at how cute is this tag. And this is all using opulent paper. I'm totally forgetting to tell you. These are all using opulent paper. All of them. It's all opulent paper. All the shiny and shimmery. So that stencil is the same one as this one. Just done up more, colored in, filled in. Instead of leaving it white, fill in the color. Isn't that pretty? Oh, so nice. These are all the slimline are, so slimline is Crafter's Workshop. 6x6 are Creative Expressions. Right? Huh, you think this is all of them? Wait, I have another pile. The girls did such a beautiful job, as did the Crafter's Workshop. Some of these stencils samples were sent in from them to help us out. So we'd like to send them a great appreciation. Thank you very much. Look at that is the Creative Expressions. That's that half stencil that I did earlier. Look at that. It's beautiful. And here on pattern paper and sanded so that the white comes up. Oh, this is James's other card. He colored in and everything with colored pencils. He's broadening his horizons. Now if he can just not roll his eyes during a meeting. And I'm sure I'm going to get the what for after the meeting's done, what he would have done different, but I will be glad to listen. Look at this one. Right? Yay. Again, done with just the small, look at that. Just that side is done. Hello. Hello, darling. Okay. This was done embossing powder, so sending it through with the squishy and the knock knock. Here it is just stenciled like we're supposed to with just ink. So again, all the paper you're seeing is either the Creative Expressions 8x8 pads or the opulent muted or the matching cardstock to opulent. This kind of dangles. Happy birthday. Okay, and then last but not least, Claire has done a layout. So we have the slimline from the Crafter's Workshop. She probably fussy cut that out of paper, but look at how cute is that. And that slimline just is the perfect little embellishment for this page. All right, you guys. hopefully, well, the show starts. I'm due at the Orlando Convention Center soon. So I'm looking at the time going, oh, I need to finish, because I'm due there soon for an early before the show meeting. And then I will be there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, doing live from NAPTA featuring Creativation. Come see what I'm gonna find. Who knows what we're gonna find? It'll be posted on Facebook and Instagram. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to watch. Ours is a public page, so you can watch all you want. You just can't comment, but you can watch all you want. Follow us on Instagram. And where are you gonna find all of this great product? Well, the creative expressions you may be able to find in a local store, absolutely. Inks, use what you've got. Without question, use what you've got. The blending brushes, we'll put them on sale, but you can get those just about anywhere too. The embossing powders, Stampendous has got a very nice following of independent retailers. You might be able to find it there. If not, come check us out online. But the opulent paper and the stencils, especially the Crafters Workshop stencils, we are first to market with them. So I am excited to show them to you and bring them to you. And I hope you learned something today that sparked your interest or made you want to be creative or made you just want to try. If I can make you want to try something that's maybe not in your wheelhouse and you see that it can be done, well, who needs a wheelhouse after all, right? Let's not be contained. Let's be creative. Okay, it's me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. That's where you'll find all the product on sale. I will see you live from NAPTA featuring Creativation, and who knows what we're going to find. Bye, everybody.